Hi, welcome back to ACL Stands. In this episode we're going to be taking a look at this classic. This is the National FM30, and I don't usually collect the smaller boxes. I did have a small box like this back in the 80s, a red one, but I'm not sure if it was actually National or if it was perhaps a different brand. This is probably one of the last smaller boxes that I will collect. So looking at the unit, we've got tape, radio, power. Those switches all seem to be working okay. Volume, balance, tone there as well. They all seem to be functioning. It's like possibly it could be an issue with this switch here. This controls the ambience stereo, which I think is kind of like a wide stereo or something. So if we press eject, you can see, yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble with the tape door. It does open eventually. Lubrication or grease down on that gear. Also, there's a little bit of movement there on that tape door, so looks like I'm going to have to do something about that. Looks cosmetically okay. There's a few scuffs and marks on it around the side there. Tuning. On the left here you've got the external speakers, you've got phones, then just a typical two-prong connector there. Also 9-volt DC input there as well with the center negative, which most of these all are. Just looking on the back here, that looks pretty cool. There is missing the top part of that aerial there. I might be able to straighten that up and 3D print a little top section aerial. I don't really want to replace it. It's still in pretty good condition. So taking a look at the battery compartment, and nothing really evil going on in there. So yep, that's that. And let's plug this thing in and see what's working. And okay, great, we've got radio. So let's switch over to tape, open this door up, see if we can press play. And I can see the tape reel moving there, so let's put tape in. Okay, so tape is working, so this unit is basically fully functional. What I'm going to do is pull this open because I want to see if I can fix this switch here. Also the cassette deck door. Before I started videoing, this top metal piece here that's got all the tuner markings on it actually sticking up on an angle. I needed to glue this back in, and what I did with that is I used a round screwdriver, bent it over this way and then this way, bent it over, so it was basically pretty much flat. And then I just used a bit of Loctite 401 underneath there and glued it all back in. If you have got an issue with this metal section coming up, you might have to bend it all back into shape. Just remove all these knobs. Just remove the tuner knobs. You've got about 7 screws in the back here, and also you've got a screw in the battery compartment. I'm just going to turn the unit around and press eject just to get this tape loose here, and I should be able to just open this up. So there's a look inside, and something just broke off then. Plastic pieces off here, and I think that might be part of the cassette door assembly. So first thing to do, blow out all this dust, and then I can come back. And next I'm just going to get the brush here and just clean around these speakers. Again, I just use a brush for this. Don't use a compressor because you can blow a hole in the speakers. Some 50% IPA here. Just going to clean up those center domes there, get them nice and silver and chrome looking. Now I suspect somebody may have been in here and replaced the belt, and also when they were in here might have done something to that switch and accidentally didn't fit that switch back on. So scrape some of this grease off here. This is terrible. Now this lever was magnetized onto the side of the speaker. Put that aside for now. So I'm going to pull the tape mech out and just have a quick look at that. Single belt, fairly large 9-volt tape motor there. Okay, so looking further into this little part here that was stuck on the magnet, this may have something to do with the battery compartment. So sometimes they have rods that run from one of the terminals, and this possibly could be from that. So I'm going to move that other assembly aside for now and look at the front assembly. If you notice just here, you can see that something's broken. That explains that eject door not having any stability on that side, so I'll have to fix that up. Have a look at all the grease that's on this little gear here, and you can see how slow that's opening up. It's just because all the dust and grease and dirt has all collected on there. Denatured alcohol, or as it's called here in Australia, methylated spirits, and give this a bit of a clean up. So you can see the tape door now opening nice and freely. The only thing left really is to fix up is this connection down here. So what I think I'm going to do with this one is the same thing that I did with the Hitachi TRK 9230, which was I just applied a little bit of Loctite 401 and then I put some of the hot glue. Okay, so there's a look at the repair, and that went really well, and that is in there rock solid, so you're never going to have a problem with that breaking again. Okay, so it's been a couple of days since I've repaired this thing, and I started to notice I was having issues with the tape. It was starting to sort of slow down and speed up, a lot of fluctuating going on playback. A few things that could possibly be causing this. I'm going to show you what it sounds like. The things that I'm going to eliminate here are the head. This is less likely to be a head issue. The other issue that it could be is possibly the idler tyre, which is this thing just down here. So I'll just zoom in a little bit. And this has a tyre around the wheel. So that can become hard, can cause it to sometimes slip. Put that issue aside. Now the other thing that it could possibly be is the motor. The way to test a motor is actually just to connect this up to the multimeter with your amp setting here. So you have a 20 amp setting here on your multimeter, and you plug the red into that, and then what you do is run this into like a loop or a circuit, and you can then switch to your amp setting down here on your multimeter, and I'll just set this to say 20 amps. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure onto the top of the pinch roller and just see what happens here. So based on that little experiment there, I can see that the pinch roller is causing a problem. Now if you go back into the beginning of this video, you'll see that when I put a tape in here, it actually played fine. It's possible that because of the amount of tape oxide that was on that pinch roller, compacted onto the pinch roller rubber, and that's caused the diameter or the thickness of that outer tyre on the pinch roller effectively act like the extra rubber that would be on an original pinch roll. Now the other thing that can be an issue here is the capstan rod. And if this has got a lot of stuff on it as well, this can make the rod a little bit thicker. So it really does make a difference, just those small fractions of millimeters. You can have a look at that pinch roller, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Get myself a new pinch roller. I don't have any spare pinch rollers, so it's something that I've been meaning to get for a while. So this looks like a really worn deck, and I definitely think a lot of tapes got played on this thing. Basically, we're going to leave it at this episode because there really isn't anything else I can do here. I'm just going to put a note on this thing that I need to order in a pinch roller, and I have to measure this pinch roller. Now to remove these pinch rollers, show that in the part 2 of this, but it's really not that difficult to remove it. If you have a look on the front here, there's a little plastic disc here. Some use circlips. This one has the black clips, and you can just use your fingernails here and just pop those out. It's just a little hollow rod in there, so that's how that one works. Pretty cheap. So I'm going to put this all back together for now, take a few measurements, and that's pretty much it for this episode. So I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next project.